Hello and welcome to COVID-19 updates. In today's video I'm going to be going through what's the new UK travel quarantine rules. The travel quarantine rules now differ around the UK. People travelling to Scotland and Wales from some other places will now have to self-isolate, but not if they go to England and Northern Ireland, so it's actually changing all over the place. It's not like a central system. Which countries does the quarantine apply to? So I'm just going to go through the whole list, to be honest. So anyone entering England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland from somewhere not on that nation's list of exempt travel corridors must go into self-isolation for 2 weeks. Several countries have lost their travel corridor, meaning travellers must quarantine. So from the 5th of September, Portugal and French Polynesia... I'll go from the bottom. So on the 27th of July it was Spain, 31st of July it was Luxembourg, 8th of August it was Belgium, Andorra and the Bahamas, 15th of August it was France, Netherlands, Malta, Monaco, the Turks and Caicos and Aruba. The 22nd of August it was Croatia, Austria, Trinidad and Tobago, plus Switzerland for travellers to Scotland. From the 29th of August it was the Czech Republic, Jamaica and Switzerland. From the 2nd of September it was Zypanos, which is Zante, and travellers to Wales. From the 3rd of September it was Greece, and it was only applied to travellers to Scotland. From the 4th of September it was Portugal, Gibraltar, French Polynesia, and 6 Greek islands, and this was just for travelling to Wales. And then from the 5th of September it was Portugal and French Polynesia when people travelling to Scotland. But now people travelling to any part of the UK from France must now self-isolate. So what are the quarantine rules? Almost everyone entering the UK, including British nationals, must fill in a passenger locator form, regardless of whether or not they need to quarantine. The form asks travellers to provide their contact details and UK address. If someone who is required to self-isolate does not provide an address, the government will arrange accommodation at the traveller's expense. For 14 days, starting from the day after arrival, people who are quarantining should not use taxis or public transport to reach their destination on arrival in the UK, if possible, use public transport or taxis once at their destination, go to work, school or public areas, have visitors except for essential support, go out to buy food or other essentials if they can rely on others. People returning from overseas will not be automatically eligible for statutory sick pay during this period, unless they meet the required conditions such as displaying coronavirus symptoms. So what if I travel to a part of the UK with different restrictions? The rules are complicated if you enter a UK nation which doesn't require you to quarantine, but then travel to another part of the UK that does within 14 days. The measures apply to visitors to Scotland, irrespective of their entry point into the UK, the government says. If you travel to Wales, you will need to isolate for up to 14 days, minus the days you've already spent in the UK. So if I was in the UK and spent 5 days in the UK and then went to Wales, I would only have to spend 9 days in Wales. You do not have to fill in the new passenger locator form, but must update any relevant information, including the address you'll stay at. So basically the only thing you need to change is the new address that you're staying at. The government has warned travellers that breaking quarantine rules is a criminal offence and that they can face a fine and potentially a criminal record. Those not self-isolating when they're supposed to can be fined £1,000 in England, Wales and Northern Ireland, or £480 in Scotland. There are fines up to £5,000 for persistent offenders. They can be fined up to £3,200 in England if they do not provide accurate contact details, or £1,920 in Wales. There is also a fine for £100 for not filling in the passenger locator form. 1 in 5 eligible passengers will be called or text to check that they are following the rules. Where can I go without quarantining? Travellers from more than 50 countries deemed low risk do not have to quarantine, although some of these countries impose restrictions on travellers entering from the UK. An updated list of these travel corridor countries is published by the administrations in England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. Anyone arriving from the Common Travel Area, CTA, the Republic of Ireland, the Channel Islands or the Isle of Man do not have to enter the quarantine if they've been in the CTA for the last 14 days. So the Channel Islands are just like Jersey, Guernsey, Sark, Herman, all those places. You do not need to self-isolate if you drive through a non-exempt country, as long as you don't stop in the country to get out of the car and no one else gets in. If you are on public transport, you're exempt from the quarantine if no new passengers get on while in this non-exempt country, and no passenger mixes with people outside or enters a public space at the stop. Which workers are exempt from quarantine? There are a number of people who are exempt regardless of where they're flying from, including road haulage and freight workers, seasonal agricultural workers if they self-isolate where they're working, and UK residents who originally travel overseas and at least once a week for work. So yeah, that's the update. I just thought it'd be interesting just to go through the whole thing with you, just kind of informing you everything that's happening. You can go back and hear about the individual countries, but basically the whole quarantine thing is kind of differing from place to place in England. Basically the main England doesn't really want to impose quarantine rules because it doesn't want to really disrupt the inner workings of society and put any more strain on the holidaymakers, for example. That's why they're delaying Portugal, in my opinion. Whereas Wales and Scotland, although part of the UK, their decisions are being made independently. So that is why it all differs. And other parts in the UK, they're trying not to lock down the whole country again, although they may do in the next few weeks or months. Anyway, they're trying only to just lock down certain areas. But when schools go back anyway, it could be a bit of a problem. But we'll see. But anyway, thanks for watching this video. I hope it was informative, and have a great day.